there comes a point in life when you realize that true strength is not about controlling other people, changing every situation, or making sure nothing painful ever happens to you. True strength is becoming so deeply rooted within yourself that the words, opinions, actions, and moods of others no longer have the power to control your inner world. To become strong does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean you stop caring. It means you learn the difference between feeling something and being controlled by it. You may hear criticism, but you do not lose yourself. You may face rejection, but you do not question your worth. You may experience failure, but you do not surrender your future. The strongest person in the room is often not the loudest. It is the person who can remain calm when others panic, remain silent when others provoke, and remain focused when life becomes difficult. This kind of strength is built slowly through discipline, awareness, self-respect, and the courage to stop giving your power away. Every time you allow another person's words, opinions, or actions to control your emotions, you give them power over your inner world. Someone says something negative, and suddenly your entire day changes. Someone ignores you, and you begin questioning your worth. Someone disagrees with you, and you feel the need to defend yourself. Slowly, without realizing it, you allow other people to hold the remote control to your peace, but real strength begins when you take that control back. This does not mean pretending that nothing hurts. You are human. You will feel disappointment, anger, sadness, and frustration. Strength is not the absence of emotion. Strength is the ability to experience an emotion without allowing it to become your master. The next time someone says something that upsets you, pause. Do not immediately react. Do not allow the first emotion to decide your next action. Take a breath and ask yourself, why am I giving this person so much power over how I feel? Their opinion belongs to them. Their words may reveal their perspective, their mood, or their own struggles, but they do not automatically define who you are. You do not have to attend every argument you are invited to. You do not have to explain yourself to everyone who misunderstands you. You do not have to prove your value to people who refuse to see it. The strongest response is often not an immediate response. Sometimes it is silence. Sometimes it is walking away. Sometimes it is continuing your work while allowing the noise to remain behind you. When you stop reacting to everything, you begin to see things more clearly. You start choosing your battles instead of fighting all of them. You protect your energy instead of wasting it on temporary emotions and unnecessary conflicts. Remember, people can try to provoke you, criticize you, reject you, or misunderstand you, but they cannot control your mind unless you give them permission. Your peace is your responsibility. Your emotional state is your responsibility. The moment you stop blaming others for how they make you feel and start taking responsibility for your response, you become stronger. Do not let every voice enter your mind. Do not let every action disturb your heart. Learn to pause, observe, and choose your response. The more you practice this, the more difficult it becomes for anything outside of you to control what is happening within you. One of the greatest sources of inner suffering is trying to control things that were never meant to be controlled. You try to control what people think about you. You try to control how they treat you, whether they stay, whether they understand you, and whether life gives you the exact outcome you desire. And when things do not happen according to your expectations, your mind becomes restless. But True strength begins with acceptance. Acceptance does not mean giving up. It does not mean becoming passive or refusing to improve your life. It means understanding the difference between what is within your control and what is beyond it. Your actions are within your control. Your effort is within your control. Your discipline, attitude, decisions, and the way you respond to difficulties are within your control. But other people's choices, opinions, emotions, and many outcomes are not. The more energy you spend trying to control the uncontrollable, the weaker and more exhausted you become. You begin fighting reality instead of learning how to move through it. Imagine how much peace you would have if you stopped asking, why are they treating me this way? Why did this happen? Why can't I make them understand? Some questions have no answers that will satisfy you. Some people will never understand your heart. Some situations will not turn out the way you planned. And that is where strength is tested. Instead of wasting your energy resisting what has already happened, ask yourself, what can I do now? This question brings your power back. You may not be able to change the past, but you can decide what you do next. You may not control the storm, but you can learn how to stand in the rain. When you accept reality, your mind becomes clearer. You stop fighting battles that cannot be won and begin focusing on the actions that can actually change your life. Let people make their choices. Let situations reveal themselves. Do your best, prepare yourself, and give your full effort, but release your attachment to controlling every result. Sometimes life will give you what you want. Sometimes it will give you something completely different. Your strength is not measured by whether everything goes according to your plan. Your strength is measured by your ability to remain steady when it does not focus on what is yours to carry. Release what is not. The moment you stop trying to control everything around you, you begin gaining control over the one thing that matters most, yourself. One of the greatest signs of inner strength is the ability to control your reaction when life does not go the way you want. Anyone can remain calm when everything is easy. Anyone can be peaceful when people are kind, plans are working, and nothing is challenging them. But your true strength is revealed in the moments when you are criticized, disrespected, disappointed, or placed under pressure. Your first emotion is natural, but your first reaction does not always have to become your final decision. When someone says something that makes you angry, your mind may immediately want to respond. You may want to defend yourself, raise your voice, prove your point, or say something that hurts them in return. But before you do, pause. A few seconds of silence can save you from hours, days, or even years of regret. You do not have to react to everything immediately. The ability to pause gives you space between what happens and what you choose to do next. In that space, you regain your power. Instead of being controlled by anger, fear, or frustration, you become the observer of your emotions. You can feel anger without becoming anger. You can feel disappointment without allowing it to destroy your entire day. This takes practice. This time you feel yourself becoming emotionally triggered, take a deep breath. Stay silent for a moment. Do not rush to send a message. Do not rush to answer the insult. Do not make an important decision while your emotions are at their highest. Ask yourself, what response will I be proud of tomorrow? Sometimes the answer will be to speak calmly. Sometimes it will be to set a clear boundary. And sometimes the strongest response will be no response at all. People may try to provoke you because they expect a reaction. When you react without thinking, you become predictable. But when you remain calm, observe the situation, and choose your response carefully, you become difficult to control. A calm mind is not a weak mind. Silence is not always fear. Walking away is not always defeat. Sometimes these are signs that you have become wise enough to understand that your energy is valuable. Do not allow temporary emotions to create permanent consequences. Train yourself to slow down. Observe before you speak. Think before you act. Let your values guide your response instead of allowing your emotions to take control. The more you practice this discipline, the stronger your mind becomes. Eventually, situations that once controlled you will lose their power because you will understand one important truth. You cannot always control what happens, but you can always work on controlling what happens within you. One of the most exhausting habits you can develop is taking everything personally. Someone speaks to you in a cold tone, and you immediately wonder what you did wrong. Someone does not reply to your message, and you begin creating stories in your mind. Someone criticizes you, rejects you, or chooses to walk away, and suddenly you question your value. But the truth is, not everything people do is about you. People carry their own struggles, fears, insecurities, pain, expectations, and problems. Sometimes the way they treat you is a reflection of what is happening inside them, not a reflection of who you are. If you allow every person's behavior to become a measurement of your worth, you will spend your life emotionally exhausted. You must learn to separate yourself from other people's actions. This does not mean accepting disrespect or allowing people to treat you badly. You can set boundaries, you can speak up, you can walk away, but you do not need to carry their behavior inside your heart. You do not need to spend hours wondering why someone acted a certain way. Some people will misunderstand you no matter how clearly you explain yourself. Some will dislike you even when you have done nothing wrong. Some will leave despite everything you gave. That is life. The moment you understand this, you begin to feel lighter. You stop chasing explanations from people who do not want to give them. You stop trying to convince everyone that you are a good person. You stop believing that rejection means you are not enough. Not everyone will see your value, and that is perfectly fine. Your responsibility is not to control how everyone sees you. Your responsibility is to know yourself. When you know your intentions, your character, and your values, outside opinions lose much of their power. The next time someone disappoints you, take a step back before making it personal. Ask yourself, is this really about me, or am I simply interpreting it that way? Often, the mind creates unnecessary suffering by assuming meanings that may not even exist. Learn to observe without immediately absorbing. Hear the words, but do not let every word enter your heart. Notice people's behavior, but do not allow it to define your identity. You will become emotionally stronger when you realize that you do not have to carry everything that comes toward you. Some opinions should be ignored. Some criticism should be considered. Some people should be understood. And some situations should simply be left behind. Your peace begins to grow when you stop making every event a judgment about your worth. Let people think what they think. Let them behave according to who they are. And then return your focus to who you choose to become. The less personally you take the world around you, the more peaceful, clear, and powerful your inner world becomes. There is a different kind of strength that develops when you become comfortable standing alone. Not because you do not need anyone, but because you no longer depend on everyone to validate your choices, confirm your worth, or stay beside you. You learn that being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. One can be a choice that builds you, the other comes from feeling disconnected from yourself. Many people remain in unhealthy situations simply because they are afraid of being alone. They tolerate disrespect because they fear losing someone. They silence their opinions because they want approval. They change who they are because they are afraid that being authentic might cause someone to leave. But when you become comfortable with yourself, fear begins to lose its control. You stop chasing people who are determined to walk away. You stop begging for attention that should be freely given. You stop explaining your worth to people who have already chosen not to recognize it. You realize that losing someone's presence is not always a loss. Sometimes it creates the space you needed to return to yourself. Standing alone does not mean becoming distant from everyone. Healthy relationships are valuable. Connection matters. But your emotional foundation should not depend entirely on another person. If your confidence disappears whenever someone disagrees with you, your confidence was never truly yours. Learn to enjoy your own company. Spend time without constantly reaching for your phone or searching for someone else's attention. Sit quietly with your thoughts, work on your goals, read, exercise, learn, create, build something that belongs to you. The more comfortable you become with yourself, the less desperate you become for external approval. And this changes the way you interact with people. You begin choosing relationships instead of clinging to them. You stay because you genuinely want to, not because you are terrified of leaving. You listen to advice without automatically surrendering your judgment. You can accept disagreement without feeling personally threatened. There will be moments when you have to walk a path that nobody around you understands. There will be decisions that others criticize. There will be seasons when certain people disappear from your life. Do not mistake those moments for weakness. Sometimes standing alone is exactly what allows you to discover how strong you really are. When you know that you can be okay without constant approval, manipulation becomes much harder. You no longer have to sacrifice your peace just to keep someone beside you. Build a relationship with yourself so strong that solitude no longer frightens you. Then, when people enter your life, you can appreciate them without making them responsible for your happiness. You do not need everyone to stay. You need to remain loyal to yourself. There will be many moments in life when your ego will demand a response. Someone will misunderstand you and you will want to explain yourself. Someone will disrespect you and you will want to prove that they are wrong. Someone will criticize you and you will feel the urge to defend your character. But strength is learning that you do not have to answer every challenge that comes your way. Your peace is more valuable than winning every argument. Sometimes the desire to have the last word is not strength, it is ego asking to be satisfied. You want the other person to admit that you were right. You want them to understand your side. You want them to regret what they said or did. But even if they finally agree with you, what have you gained if you had to sacrifice your peace to get there? A stronger person learns to choose carefully. Not every argument deserves your attention. Not every accusation deserves an explanation. Not every person deserves access to your emotional energy. There are situations where speaking is necessary, especially when a boundary needs to be established. But there are also moments when silence communicates more than an argument ever could. Protecting your peace does not mean allowing people to disrespect you. It means responding from self-respect rather than uncontrolled emotion. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries, you can calmly step away. If someone constantly brings negativity into your life, you can create distance. If a conversation becomes destructive, you can end it without turning it into a battle. You do not need to destroy someone to protect yourself. This is where emotional maturity begins. You stop asking, how can I make them understand? And start asking, what choice protects my peace and reflects the person I want to be? Sometimes that choice is silence. Sometimes it is distance. Sometimes it is forgiveness without allowing the person back into your life. And sometimes it is simply accepting that you will never receive the apology or explanation you hoped for. Do not allow your ego to keep reopening doors that your wisdom has already closed. Your energy is limited. Every hour spent arguing, proving, explaining, and worrying is an hour you cannot use to build yourself. Protect that energy. Give it to your growth, your goals, your health, your relationships, and your future. The world will constantly offer you reasons to become angry. People will test your patience. Situations will challenge your pride. But you do not have to accept every invitation to chaos. Choose peace when peace is possible. Choose silence when silence is wiser. Choose boundaries when boundaries are necessary. The goal is not to become someone who never feels anger. The goal is to become someone who no longer allows anger to decide their behavior. When your peace becomes more important than your ego, you become difficult to disturb. And when you stop needing to prove yourself to everyone, you become truly free.